Hey, everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 459 for Wednesday, July 13th. You know, it's always Wednesday. And then I catch myself after I say every show we've ever done is on Wednesday. Wednesday, July 13th, 2022.
Not a flying car in sight. I'm so disappointed in the.
I just put mine down in the title, and then they can figure out what day of the week it is. It's always Sunday.
There you go. See?
Just say it's always Wednesday.
Sunday chats. Well, please allow me to introduce this esteemed panel, and we will get this show on the road. The person next to me who has way too much cool new gear, and I think she's put color in her hair that I didn't even notice until just now, which is weird.
Is there purple or something?
Georgia McKenzie.
I was left alone with some hair dye and no responsible adult. What do you want from me? And it was Amazon deal day, and again, no responsible adult and a credit card. That's the way I roll. No, but in truth, because I do not want people to think I recommend it, I saved up. I had a long laundry list of things over a decade old that needed replacing. So I just kind of broke my poor little cheap heart and spent money.
And for the record, we are not compensated by Amazon in any way for mentioning this.
I wouldn't take it.
Although we would certainly accept your checks and our large gift cards.
We are 100% viewer supported.
Yes,
it's true.
We are indeed. Well, speaking of viewer supported, he's in a location I don't even know where he is. Maybe he's been kidnapped. Maybe he's visiting somewhere. It looks like he has a baby attached to him. Mr. Casey Green.
So it's Casey and Motoko here today, and so you guys have seen me from my grandmother and uncle's inn. Well, this is their Airbnb.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's 5 minutes from the inn. So basically, if you have a large party and they can't accommodate you there for some reason, or like you come kind of last minute-y and you still need more space than the cabins that they offer on site, you can be 5 minutes down the road with this.
So there's
no breakfast here, but you know.
Nice.
But where are you?
So we're on Cape Cod, Falmouth, Massachusetts, and so the main site is called the Palmer House Inn. So thank you, Grandma. Thank you, uncles. And we appreciate it every time you put us up.
That looks like a ductless mini split behind you.
Yeah, they're
cool.
all over the place here,
Nice.
and I love them. Yeah, because everybody can have their own temperature. We're not cooling down the hallways, and then they can remotely reset them all whenever the guests leave to be more economical.
Very efficient too.
Also a control mechanism.
Yeah.
Well, a person in very familiar surroundings, he has the best lighting of anyone on the show. My friend, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Yeah, we've got a bunch of news stories to get to tonight, so let's get rolling.
Exactly. Well, next to him, obviously in his car sales location today, due to that, although it looks overcast, bright, sunny Boulder, Colorado. He is the founder and owner of Boulder Hybrids, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Yes, and glad to be back after siesta last week, I guess, Russell.
I got drunk, which isn't true, but it's a story that will work, okay? I'm perfectly willing to live under the cloud of that.
So let's go.
Let's go. Okay, one more introduction. My friend in the Pacific Northwest, he is Mr. Cars with Cords.net and Mr. OEVA.org, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello, everybody. It's a beautiful 81 degrees Fahrenheit, or if you're not in the U.S., I think that's about 27 C. It's solar's cranking. It's a good time. Let's roll.
There we go. Yeah, nice here today. It's not too hot, and it's been hot. Let's go for our first story tonight to Mr. Mark Coughlin, who seems to have a contention here. I don't know. Are you saying that your point is valid?
Well, this point seems to be being proven over and over. As more EVs get added to the mix, more and more manufacturers are creating cars and models that are coming online, coming to the market. What many people are discovering is that a reliable charging network is what could hold back the adoption of EVs. We have seen this now for probably a good 5 years. It's been brewing. And what that brewing issue is that we have more and more cars coming to the public. And when people go to do that long road trip or that regional road trip, that they believe that they can just hop on the road, they can pull up their handy dandy PlugShare app and pick a route that makes sense to them, that they've got a choice of a charger or two along the way to make their way to their final destination. More and more, what's happening is they'll get to that charger almost fully depleted, trying to make the car the most efficient it can and keep the timing as low as possible. And they'll get to that charger and they'll plug it in and the charger won't work. Or they get to that location and the two chargers that are on PlugShare, they're already being used by a Leaf and a Spark. So they know that they're in for a wait and they have to sit there and wait and wait. And then when someone clears out or someone forgets to come out to their car and they don't leave the charging spot, it's blocked for a period of time that is slowing everybody else down. So these episodes are starting to happen more and more. In fact, we've had some reports that some of the main DC fast charger companies that provide it, like Electrify America, ChargePoint, and others, they're getting failing grades when it comes to uptime for their equipment. And of course, that is going to lead to more frustration, especially to first-time EVers. People that have come from a gasoline vehicle have been told it's rosy. You just go out, you plug in, you get your charge, you move on. And then they discover that there are issues with the charging infrastructure, that it's either broken, it's being used, it's busy, or it won't initialize, or there's other problems. It's going to,
depending on their brand.
Yeah, sure. There's going to be some problems with that as time goes along. In fact, it may sour some people from even keeping the EV over a period of time. They may decide that, you know what, this doesn't make any sense. I can't go on this one road trip I do every year or every half year. And they may get frustrated with the situation because amongst all the different chargers that are out there, the point to report maintenance to or to the help call line, they're all different. So you're not even dealing with the same group over and over. You're dealing with different equipment, different call centers, and different problem solvers. So it can become frustrating. In fact, I was at an EV meetup just a week or so ago, and I had a new person in front of me that is just deciding on what EV they're going to purchase. They had described that they like to do a trip basically between Toronto and Montreal, which is probably our number one EV route for a number of chargers that are available. But they were absolutely shocked with the number of different types of EV chargers that are out there, the different speeds that they run at, and how they could tell if there was someone actually at a charger. So as they approach and they notice that there's only one charger at this location, they would like to be assured that the charger's open as they get off the highway to go to the charger. But of course, PlugShare allows people to indicate that they're actually there, but of course there's no requirement that someone has to indicate that they are using the charger. So what I want to say is as the US federal government gets into place to start spending millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on a new charging infrastructure, I really hope that someone has done their homework and is going to corral all these companies into a common architecture that will allow everyone to benefit from what the monies are going to be spent on this new charging network. Even if it's split up amongst different companies, I hope the protocols are all the same, and it does allow people to understand charger availability, how to report problems, how to get those problems resolved in some sort of standardized fashion. Because if it's all hodgepodge all over the place, different companies, different protocols, this could be a big failure. And a lot of money could be wasted trying to get to a solution. The planning has to be done up front. We really don't know what the planning is. All we've heard is there's been meetings with these different companies, but we really don't know who's in charge and if that person in charge really knows what they're doing. So as we go into this spending spree that's coming, I really hope that someone has done their homework well and understands the problem that is before them.
Well,
Of course,
I want
a
to say
couple
that
of you will say there's one car company that sort of has it figured out. So,
if everybody would have swallowed their pride and pay into Russell's former employer there, they could have had this a little better. Even if they had all got together and strong-armed them into going with a standard port worldwide instead of seeing the whole proprietary port and walking away, or seeing their name on the stations and walking away, or whatever the case is, where we've heard of several major automakers say, hey, we could do this, and then they walk out of discussions and it just doesn't happen. But you don't have to just buy into that. You could also just emulate them. Like, hey, here's something that works.
Mm-hmm.
Let's copy it for our other guys and make it work. Like Electrify America, ChargePoint, all of them, they have engineers. Just copy it. It works. Customers love it.
And that's interesting. You mentioned that, Casey, because the article that I've quoted that's in the show notes, if you want to read it, they indicate that there is this Wild West attitude, except for one company, and of course Tesla is mentioned as the one that they have it figured out already, and it's available, and most people rave about its predictability, its uptime. Yeah, and its ability to serve its customers. So,
and it's not perfect. They have room for improvement as well. But as you're saying, versus what some folks had, there's one guy in my Twitter circles that he first tried a Tesla short range, but because he's a traveling salesman or repairman, or I don't know what he does, but he's doing long distances at least once or twice a week. He could do it in that short range car, but then he couldn't see his family because he was charging too long, because the small battery charges slower and it has less range to begin with. So then he tried a third-party car for, like, I don't know if he rented it or if he bought it and turned it in real quick, because on the routes he was on, he couldn't count on the charging network available to that vehicle to be available. So it was even worse for him being able to see his family, because now he was getting stuck.
That's much worse.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I've been wrestling with this issue. And another issue directly related to that, which is why we're building the EVs that we build. And my concern is that, just like your concern, Mark, that we're not allocating resources correctly, intelligently, rationally. What we're doing is maybe concentrating resources in places we shouldn't be. No doubt, this in a way, this is a good thing. This is a good sign, because EV ownership is growing, using electric vehicles is growing, and it's a good sign to see the system being strained in places. Way better than, wow, those chargers sat at Costco for 4 years and no one ever used them, or IKEA, or whatever it was. And we've done those stories way back in the day too.
Yeah, and then like you said, at the end of the 4 years, it may be time for, it may be a contract thing where now they have to be hauled out and either replaced, or they just don't renew the contract, and that's a really bad discussion to have.
Exactly, and that's the thing. So, and I know my friend Chelsea has said many times that her concern about charger placement is it's a big concern. She doesn't want to see that money wasted. And I get that. I guess so. I'm sorry. Part of my concern is that we build a charging network for people taking long road trips and long distance EVs. I don't think that's the right thing. I think that there are times that long distance road trippers are going to be inconvenienced. I don't wish for that. And if we can work out a way to solve that while solving other problems, fantastic. I don't think that's the priority. I think the priority is getting gas cars off the road. And that's not getting everybody into an electric vehicle for a summer road trip. That's getting them into commuting cars or whatever, commercial vehicles, that kind of stuff. So
bring on the bread boxes.
Canoe,
well, I meant more of the autonomous, self-driving microbuses, but also trains and buses and bicycles.
Yeah,
you don't have to own your car for the one trip a week, or one trip a day, really. But still, same situation.
Yeah,
so Mark,
it's getting people to give that up.
Well, some places it's impossible. The way we've designed our cities, NIMBYism, people not doing their civic duties, all of a sudden now it's all single-family zoning, no sidewalks, no walkability. Oh, and the speed limits are too damn high for riding your bike.
Yeah. This is a big issue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take one small part of this and then blow it up.
I'm just saying that in this particular case, the monies have started to be allocated for this particular purpose.
Right, and they should have strings attached to them. They should have to be able to report uptime. They should have to be able to report availability. They should be required to support plug and charge so that people can, if they're in a network, just plug in. They should. Here's one. There's so many networks out there. I have a pile of cards that I have, and fobs and things and apps to scan and tap and. I have a credit card. I should be able to walk up to any charger, plug in, tap my card, and pay and go without joining their network, without any of this other stuff. People are used to that. You have that card with you all the time to pay for whatever. So why not support it that way?
Yep. Speaking of, you mentioned plug and charge.
CoinWatch takes credit cards now.
Most of them do, yeah.
Meters.
Yeah. So to build on that point, if you want to save an extra 5 cents, okay, join their network. But also, the automaker shouldn't make you sign up for OnStar, calling a specific automaker out, to have the functionality of plug and charge when everybody else does it. They configure it at the factory and then they set it and forget it. You don't need a connection for that. The charging station has the connection. That's all you need.
Yes.
A whole lot of this can be blamed on the fact that most corporations, most corporate entities try to do customer capture. They lock you into their own specific custom charger, custom software. And it's just like, something? If you actually want your company to survive, don't try to create this customer capture idea. You actually should make it more convenient for people to use anywhere, anytime, anyhow.
Just like paywall news.
Yeah. I mean, right now, we've got Elizabeth Warren trying to narrow the standard down to USB-C, because how many freaking adapters do you freaking need just for everything? And it's like, it's so much easier to be able to buy a couple of USB-Cs than if you go upstairs and look in my well-labeled USB fill-in-the-blank drawer with like 7 different types of connectors for 7 different things that all use the same level of power. And it's ridiculous that that's going on.
Like completely normal, but it's completely proprietary. Do not plug it into something else, or do not plug a regular cable into that thing. Oh boy.
Yeah, and that's something you get with cars. And to me, the EV industry is finally becoming less of a niche product, to the point where we need to have companies just cut that shit out and make it convenient for everybody. Because I guarantee you, your large customer base is not going to be found with the people who want to have custom this and that and little niche specialty items. This is not buying, virgin wool socks from virgin sheep out in the hills of a tiny Swiss town that are created by monks who only, sip beer. That's it. It's not a prestige brand anymore. You got to make it
there.
common.
This place sounds beautiful, Georgia.
I was going to say, what do you got against virginity? Oh, sorry.
Look, those are very lonely sheep. They're being prevented. So that's all I'm saying.
There's a show title right there.
Fermented
Between monks and sheep. Let's go. You're going to get complaints about that one.
But we've
But,
talked about
that's what I
before
said.
that, like, if you had a Chevy, you can't go to you don't just go to the Chevy gas station. If you have a Ford, you go to the Ford gas
Right.
station. I mean, you go to any gas station and put fuel in your car. So it's got to be that simple for EVs.
Yes.
Yeah. Ubiquity is the lifeblood of getting acceptance for EVs, and high time we made it that way.
Yeah, I've made the point on here before that having a broken down charging network is actually worse than no network, because you think you can depend on it, and then you get there and it's blocked, it's broken,
Yeah.
it's whatever, but you had scheduled your route on that, and so you have to have a backup plan, and that's just not convenient.
Well,
And you need to make it idiot proof. We had a customer last week who went to the gas station with his Prius, and the gas pumps had, those bags over out of service, but the diesel pump didn't. So he says, well, I'll just put the diesel fuel in my Prius.
The nozzle fit? It wasn't too
No,
big?
he aimed back.
It took a long time because I had to dribble it in, and I'm like, the reason the nozzle's big on diesel is so you don't do that, dude. He had no idea. He was lucky; he got out for under $1,000 in damages. But
Wow.
Don't put diesel fuel in a gas car, or vice versa.
The good thing is if you have an incompatible plug, you can't put incompatible electricity in there.
Right. Yeah. Although maybe he'll get some metal forks or something and try and jury rig it. Trickle it in.
This is like those bad social media pictures that I probably are totally legit of people putting gas into buckets and plastic bags and like just totally not connected to the reality that is the world you live in.
You try to make something foolproof. The fool just gets a bigger fool coming along.
Yeah.
Let me be honest with you. There is nothing as innovative and genius as an absolute fool.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, thank you for that very good discussion surrounding that topic. And certainly one, obviously going forward, this is a huge issue, is where is the electric fuel coming from? How is it being generated? How is it being distributed? And these are the issues that, because we're humans and we never do things really in advance, these are the things that are going to sort themselves out. It's going to be ugly and messy, and I'm not defending any of it. It doesn't have to be.
Topic, can I bring up one more thing?
Yes.
So Forth had their roadmap conference, and so it was a week ago, and now they've just made several of the videos public, so they're on YouTube. And so I was just playing in the background while I was doing other stuff, and something caught my ear. This guy got up there and said, "We run charging networks, and we have a 98% uptime." And I was like, "What? Who is this?" And it was Flow, FLO, EV networks. I had never heard of them.
Quebec based.
Yes, yeah. So they're doing a few select cities, and they're keeping their networks in those areas compact so they can service them. What? They're actually thinking about serviceability and uptime? I can't. Wow. I hope this company and that mindset spreads and that they're very successful. I don't know anything about them. I've never used their network. I'm not part of their network. This is not endorsed, but it gave me hope that maybe somebody can do it right.
They really, there's not a female in that team, is there? If they called it Flow.
And they're not worried about what's that insurance company, Progressive Flow?
Right. Let the electricity flow.
Yeah, because I'm just going to say Aunt Flo is probably not me reminding people of. Like, Flo? Really? You went with Flo? Okay.
Before we circle the drain any further or any more quickly, let's go to Patrick for his story. I have a story that has nothing to do with Flow anything.
Right. Okay. So this comes to us from reneweconomy.com.au, and it's titled U.S. Secretary says switch to wind and solar could be the greatest peace plan of all. So I've told the story in the show before, but I'll be quick. The reason that I got into EVs was because I was sent to war for oil, and it is what we are often fighting for. And let's here's a few
Directly or
of the things
indirectly.
that are so the U.S. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm attended the Sydney Energy Forum on Tuesday, and here are a few of the things she said. No country has ever been held hostage to access the sun. No country has ever been held hostage to access the wind. These have never been weaponized, nor will they be, Granholm told the forum. She went on to say, therefore, our move to clean energy globally could be the greatest peace plan of all. And then another speaker said, oil, natural gas, coal, and electricity prices are going up through the roof. Why? It's simple. Russia invaded the Ukraine in February. They were the number one oil exporter in the world, the number one natural gas exporter to the world, and a major player in the coal markets. And then one of the finishing statements here was the last comment I'll make here is that this transition in the United States, we have 13 years to get to 100% clean energy. This is not just going to be flipping a switch. It's going to take a period of time. This period of time allows us to do this in a way that achieves buy-in, but is still very aggressive. So that would be cool if we could actually get to 100% clean energy in the next 13 years. I don't think it'll happen that fast, but it would be awesome if it did.
We could if we had to.
Right.
We don't have to.
We
Is
had
a
an
problem.
Apollo project going. Something like World War II, where we switched quickly from making cars to making tanks and planes. Yeah, it could happen.
A bunch of the folks in one of the local clubs I'm in, they were all talking about several of their local utilities had raised the electricity rates because the fuel for the major part of their mix had gone up. As you mentioned, coal and methane, coal and natural gas have gone up, and they couldn't eat the cost anymore because it went up so high.
Yeah, I mean, my for the first time ever, I have an over $200 bill for 1 month. I'm in a less than 900 square foot 2-bedroom, and wow. But it's not that we can't do it. And you're right that we did pull together and do that during World War II, but we are not, as a country, mentally in the headspace where we pull together collectively.
We would have to be so far up against the ropes.
Yeah.
I don't, and the thing is that one of the saddest truths about being that far up against the ropes is that it tends to make people lean towards authoritarianism to try to force things to go back to the good old days, and that's a big problem. But I firmly agree because we never went to war for sunshine. We really haven't. And
how much did you say your bill was last month, Georgia?
$218. It's
wow.
An 892 square foot apartment, but we've been dealing with.
In my house here,
I'm fine in 80 degrees, but my housemate is not.
My bill was $12.
Nice.
See, we don't have solar.
It's because you're stealing all that sun.
That's right.
You're going to make it dimmer and colder. You're going to wreck the world.
Global cooling.
That's right.
So this month I also I put up a pair of portable panels because my main residence is rented. I've still got 27 panels on the house that I own that I'm moving back to at some point sometime soon. But that house, the last bill was $20, and that was just because it was winter and it's a combined methane and electricity bill, and the solar could not wind back all of the methane. But we were pushing $200 in the place that we were renting, and the two panels, they helped out a couple dollars, and I've got some much larger panels en route that hopefully will also portable. They'll hopefully make a much more noticeable dent. In this case, I run it through a portable generator. It's a 100-pound. You guys have seen them behind me in the when I'm in my office. And so the beauty of them is they don't feed back into the grid, so I don't have to do all the rigmarole about making sure it's their preferred vendor, make sure that the panels are the way they like. It's just whatever I plugged into that box, which is the whole office, just disappears from the load.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to focus on the bigger picture of
Right.
this impacts not only our own local bills, but our relationships politically to other countries and the relationships we have there. And a lot of them are skewed by our addiction to fossil fuels.
Yeah, like my dad would not have been stopped, lost, and held back in a war he was in. You wouldn't have been at the ones you were in. My brother's body would still be in 100% shape because he wouldn't have been over there fighting in the countries that have oil, whether we were there for that or not. Our previous president would have been bragging about how we should steal oil. I mean, because it wouldn't matter because we wouldn't use it.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have a failure to hold Saudi Arabia and Mohammed bin Salman accountable for the murder of Khashoggi because we have it because of our need for oil. Right. But I'm going to piss on the parade as I do because I'm always at that idiotic voice of reality. In the middle of all this, as we head towards more sustainable methods of powering our nation and the world, rare minerals, rare materials. That's the other aspect of it, and making sure we find ways to not get into wars over that, because that's one of those things that's running right under the surface, and it's a big issue that's going to happen.
As you're saying, it's definitely going to be there because of our lust for the absolute cheapest. Like literally everything we need is for the current tech is right there in Canada. We're not going to invade Canada, but we also don't want to pay Canada a fair price.
We should.
I mean, we should, but we don't want to. So that's going to bring us straight to places that have questionable ethics with regards to worker safety, with regards to where those minerals came from in the first place.
Right.
This conversation is going the exact same place the last one went to. We can't learn to be happy with less. We can't share. We can't economize. We don't plan ahead. I'm going to kill myself, okay? And I don't mean that.
So basically, we're going to blame Canadians for what's going on. Darn you, Mark.
Well, they need to eat too. You got to be able to pay the guy to dig it out of the ground.
Once we
they
get these
just
minerals
eat
in circulation.
Maple syrup and bacon. I don't understand what the problem
Have you seen maple syrup prices lately?
No, because they're hoarding it. That's also why we should
That's
make
true. They do
maple syrup reserves.
Yeah, the strategic.
It's not just the U.S. I mean, Germany is going to be effed up this fall when the cold season comes if they don't figure out, and they're scrambling to figure out alternative energy sources because basically they don't want Russian oil and Russia doesn't want to give them any oil, and their whole economy is based on Russian oil. So just be thankful you're not
grain, which people are going to find out about pretty soon, that Ukraine is a breadbasket to the world. So
oh yeah, they're like torching crops as well as blockading crops. So yeah, it's going to be a lovely winter this year.
Great.
Well, Georgia has our next story, and I have the answer to her headline. And Georgia, somewhat like Jeopardy, I'm going to give you that answer first. The answer is that's the only way he's going to go through life.
Well, okay, but as the headline I gave Russell was, bitter and stupid is no way to get through life, Ben, because this is about North Carolina District 52 incoming State House Representative Ben Moss. Because at this point, can we all just agree that the GOP are, at their best, a party of trolls? And that is like the most lightest criticism you could give or a compliment is that all they are a bunch of trolls. Mr. Ben Moss, State Representative of North Carolina District 52, is demanding the removal of free EV chargers. Why? It's unfair.
We won't give them free gas and diesel.
Yeah, if you're not going to give free gas and diesel, then you can't have any electricity for your EVs. So House Bill 1049 is what he's trying to push, which would allocate $50,000, 50,000 to destroy free public car chargers.
Wow.
So
Just
it
say
costs
if you
North
give them
Carolina nothing.
right,
Nothing.
I thought this was the
And
party of
it's
smaller government, and yet
Right.
they want to regulate
it's only
this
small
minutia.
government if they're trying to fit it up my uterus.
right.
Other than that, it's big enough to fit in my bedroom, in my church, and in my job, and in public spheres like this. So
And
that's
a lot of these are private businesses, and if you were to give these diesel bros 19 cents of diesel or gasoline for their pick 'em up trucks, they would likely start a mass shooting spree on you. So,
well, that's the thing. These are the public chargers, though. We'll get to the private ones later.
oh, sorry,
These public
they're all
ones.
mixed in. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to
Yeah,
jump ahead.
they're kind of mixed in. So basically, if your city in North Carolina, so let's say you live in a progressive North Carolina blue city, and your municipality put up a bunch of free chargers. Hey, that's pretty awesome. You can drive. Wait a second, Mr. Ben Moss is here to save the day for internal combustion engine vehicles. You better put in a pump that puts in free gas and diesel next to the EV chargers, or they'll be crushed by a monster truck. I'm begging you, North Carolina, pick better people to represent you, even at the state level. Like literally, this person shouldn't even be like a librarian, although books is probably something he's allergic to. So, and what if you're a private business? I mean, surely, as Patrick pointed out, this is a small government party. The GOP are a pro-business, small government, rugged, individualistic party. They definitely would not be interfering with private businesses that put up chargers, right?
Unless they put up free chargers to incentivize people to shop their business.
Well, it doesn't even matter why you put it up. I mean, if you choose to, you choose to. But
Yeah.
they want you to have on your receipt as a customer how much your share of the bill went towards that charger. So your 5 cents that you possibly might cost you, probably not even 5 cents, probably 0.05 of a cent is on there.
Yeah, I'll
How
tell you, every
many-
time I do like grocery shopping or whatever where they've got a free charger and I go there instead of the other place, I end up staying and spending more than I would have at either place, the one that had it and the one that didn't have it. And they make the money back on the 5 to 50 cents of electricity depending on how long I stay and how much I'm able to get in that short amount of time.
How many gas
Well,
stations does this asshole's family own?
It's got to be.
Well,
It's got to be.
here's the
like that.
funny part.
Yeah.
Here's the really funny part. There's an electric car company building a 2,000-acre factory just up the road that will provide employment for 7,500 people. Toyota is building a battery factory right outside Greensboro that'll employ 1,750 people. But instead of doing anything that actually creates jobs for his constituents, North Carolina State House Representative from District 52, Ben Moss, is putting out House Bill 1040 to create one job. The dude who goes out ripping out public chargers.
It'll last maybe 6 months at the most.
Maybe 6 months. So, again, bitter and stupid is no way to get through life.
See, I don't even think it'll last 6 months because if you're a private business and you're forced to remove it, or you're a municipality and you're forced to remove it, you can then sell it to somebody who wants to reinstall it somewhere else or to a scrapper versus letting them take it.
Yeah, so businesses do things all the time, loss leaders, coupons, sales, to attract customers. And like Casey said, free hot dogs? What'd you say, Paul?
Yeah.
No, Costco hot dogs.
Costco hot dogs. Yeah, the $1 hot dogs that they will not raise those prices.
There's a tire store around here that gives out free beef. That's like one of their big ad campaigns. And so do they want to regulate every business and say you have to have on the bottom of your receipt how much was spent on beef or Costco hot dogs or whatever? I mean, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but once again,
big oil's in his mouth.
It's not even big oil. I mean, there's no clear reason or any benefit except to attack electric cars and EVs. And it's at this point we need to give up the idea that there's a logical compensation for it. It really, personal animus is a motivating factor to be conservative at this day and age, unfortunately. So you elect one of these people and you give them the power to put up bills like this. And honest to God, if they feel like it outrages the right people, they'll pass it. Because if I
You mean
remember
the left
correctly, the
people?
North Carolina State House is conservative. I mean, hopefully there's enough conservatives who can go, this is making us look like morons. Please just kill it, table it, because the quick and dirty primer on bills passing is you can write a bill to do anything. It is the it's Caligula making his horse a senator level of nonsense. You can write a bill for just about anything, but there's a big long process. But getting attention through stupidity like this, pure troll move, and somehow I don't think this is going to make it out of committee. It's going to it's going to sit there and it's going to be on his record. But shout out to the fact that we actually have a nice factory coming up, VinFast. So yes, electric company VinFast. Shout out to you, putting a 2,000-acre factory up there, bringing jobs to North Carolina. Because you know what's good for constituents in North Carolina? Supporting EVs and maybe not electing Ben Moss again.
Yeah, so that reminds me of the one you shared with us a couple of weeks ago, where Texas had to rush to get their plan together for how they were going to spend the government money for chargers, but at the same time they were pushing bills through to not use any government money for chargers.
Yeah, one hand, the other hand, never meeting.
but the funny thing was they were both the same party because it's Texas.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Hypocrisy is not a problem here.
Yeah.
True.
Ideology just gets in the way of our goals, okay?
Right. I ran through Mr. Moss's donors, and they were all individuals, but I didn't research any of the individuals, so nothing stood out like so-and-so oil or whatever.
Yeah, there's so much
Cook Brothers
in politics. It's hard to.
Cook Brothers somewhere. The thing is like I said, at this point, they're willfully stupid just to show that they're part of the team. It's the equivalent of joining the Mean Kids Club and just attacking somebody who's a loner and a nerd, according to them, just to show that you belong.
You can do it.
But it was just so dumb. I had to share it with you.
Speaking of the Mean Kids Club, let's talk about another Mean Kids Club that's near and dear to my heart, but everyone's heart. The question is, what is the future for this company, Georgia?
Which Amazon?
Yeah. As they shrink themselves.
Oh, I wish they would shrink. Bring back mom and pop stores. And I say this full well, admitting that I blew a lot on Prime Day because I have a budget and I have a shopping list. But Amazon is doing some good sustainability efforts for being a 2,000-pound walrus sitting right there in front of us, occupying a lot of space. What are they doing? They are swapping cargo vans for cargo e-bikes. It's a new delivery pilot program. It's kind of just starting, but smaller electric cargo bikes and walking. Right now, it's happening in London with a trial version of the electric cargo bikes, but I don't know. It's hard to describe what they look like. Russell, can you put that up on the screen?
I think I can. Let's see. Oh. It will take me a moment, so please continue.
I think I can do this for you.
I just have to copy it over here. Dun, dun,
While
dun.
you guys are doing that, I shared this same story.
Look at that.
Our Twitter feed, and somebody responded and said, I wonder how much of this is just greenwashing, and are they really going to do it? Which
they're already doing it. I'm not sure to tell you. But yes, this is their e-assist vehicle. But it's like okay. maybe this
Cargo
is too much information, but I've watched a lot of Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, especially when I'm not feeling well. Shut up. And this looks so
I used to love
jolly.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's Daniel Tiger's. Leave me alone. This is what I do when I'm sick. And it looks a lot like Trolley, like the mailman. It's just like a blend of a 4-wheel and a trike and a truck. And you know what?
Pictures they
It's
used
not
with the
that
postal
type
service.
of boat thing we had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a cool hybrid, and I'm kind of here for it. It's kind of thing that definitely, yeah, I would ride around it. But you guys know I have a problem, and I'm unashamed to admit that I have a little problem with weird cars and weird looking bikes. So this is their pilot program. It's currently out in London. Blend of walking. It goes up to 25 miles per. Well, I'm sorry. My apologies. They gave it in kilometers. It is 15.5 miles per hour. And I could see these in New York. There's tons of streets in New York where it's too damn small. They're just narrow one-way streets. The older cities have some really bad roads for this. Philadelphia, yes, anything on the East Coast is definitely built like a European city. Tiny old roads. Sometimes there's some places in New York that are cobblestone, and I can see these fitting in downtown New York perfectly well. So they're like a mini van for a driver, and you pedal and engage the electric motor. So it's an assist vehicle. And I think that's pretty darn cool. Now, my one problem is, well, in New York City, I'm just like, how long would it go before it gets stolen? We'll see. I'm not saying anything about my hometown. I love you, New York City. I love you to death. But you put a bike out there. It's basically, hey, free, come get me. And that's the one thing. Security. Who else is doing that? DHL is doing the same thing. Almost similar vehicle in the UK. UPS is also doing it, but they went with the 3-wheel trike. Not quite as cool as the flying motorbikes from Battlestar Galactica, but close enough. You can feel pretty cool in these things. I like it, and I'm pretty happy about this.
They gave the example of the USPS. They showed that one. They had like a fleet of them getting ready to make their daily runs with the mailman. And Bruce Nelson points out that they're also designing them to pass the FMVSS Part 200. Oh wait, no, that's the Aptera. I thought it was about these. I was like, wow, they're crash testing the bikes.
Yeah, those are actually pretty cool. I think it's about time. I will say that it's one of the things that I think a lot of people might overlook with the smaller vehicles and the smaller delivery range is that it opens up more employment opportunities because you require more people, and that's also a good thing. You're going to say, Wilson?
I rather like this picture just because it shows the desperation that most Amazon employees feel throughout their shift. He's sort of pedaling for his life in this under this magnifying glass of a windshield, just to make sure that Chad and Brittany get their gluten-free pasta on time. That's all I got.
It's because his thighs are burning from pedaling, Russell.
I love this idea. I mean, we need to think about diversity of transportation. It's not hitting everything with a V8 powered box truck,
Right, like I couldn't expect this guy to get on the subway. I mean, it could happen, but I wouldn't expect it to happen.
Right. So here in Portland, we have a company called Beeline Urban Delivery, and they've been doing this for over a decade. And their last mile delivery, they're doing it on cargo e-bikes, and it's great because you have a distribution center right outside of town, and then you have the bikes going through town. Instead of diesel trucks blocking roads, you have these nice emissions-free bikes. It's a very cool system. I'd like to see more of it.
Yeah, it would actually even work out for the more spread out apartment complexes here in California, where they could actually take these things instead of having to carry the heavy stuff. They could ride it a little bit closer to the door and reduce a lot of the wear and tear that this kind of manual labor does on their body. Because I see a lot of them having just to lift and carry and then cart, and it'll be a lot faster and a lot more efficient for them. So I think it's a good idea. But we'll see how that works in implementation because, again, we're just at the London test stage. We'll see what happens here in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Because the U.S. and Canada really aren't built for anything slow.
So what I was saying at the beginning of the story, and forgive me if I was vague and maybe, well, what was that?
Like
Someone's zipping by Paul's place.
Oh,
Motorcycle.
nice. At the beginning of the story, not an
Not an
definitely
e-bike.
not an e-bike. Yeah, yeah. Unless you're going my ears. Amazon in the last couple of months has been quietly backing out of deals, closing deals that they could, getting out of. They're downsizing their warehouses. They way overleased, and they're kind of dialing it back. So that just FYI. Otherwise, it sounded like I was just being bizarre, and I usually am, but you know, there it is anyway. Yeah. That's all I got. Anybody got one more thing? I love that. Let's do some shout outs and go home then. I'm going to start with
good news.
With my friend Casey Green, who's having the lifeblood sucked out of his chest by an alien. Casey! Oh,
young
sorry.
succubus.
You leave that baby alone.
She's sitting here sleeping and giving me the biggest ass smiles in her sleep. It's like
This
mind
is
control.
not a kid-friendly show. I'm glad she's
Yes,
happy.
it is.
Is it? I mean, I'm not hostile. I'm just saying that, you know, yeah.
Indeed.
Aside from your
That
Daniel the
baby is
Tiger
standing, we
reference.
start training in weapons and cussing.
Okay.
She was watching Dave Plummer this morning, the Microsoft retired engineer who made the Task Manager, among other things. I'm like, really, kid? All right. Like, I was getting ready to change it, and she was like, she started sobbing when I went to change it. I was like, oh, okay, we'll watch Dave Plummer talk about how to shut down your computer. Anyway, so on Sundays, you can catch us at 1:10 p.m. Eastern, doing a very similar format to this, but longer. So
More of it.
more of it.
What makes it better, Casey? There's more.
There's more, you know. So we a couple more stories, and we let some of the stuff just run out. Some of the stuff that we would kind of clip here because we respect your time here, we respect your time there, but we take more of it over there. That's what that is. Over at youtube.com/Casey Green, KACEYGREN. I tried to get you some more pre-recorded videos. I actually went past a supercharger, but there was a crash, a very severe one that took all of my time that I had to get back to do Mark's show, and so I did not stop at said supercharger, and so I did not get fresh video for you. I'm sorry.
You worthless. No.
And it was a new one too. It was a V3, so I was like, oh, this will be awesome. And then I looked at the clock and I said, whoops.
Are we already at the point where you drive past a supercharger and go, oh, it's just a G2. Who cares? Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine. Speaking of Paul Guzik, what's going on in Colorado today?
A little hot. Still shortage of used cars, although I do have one Prius for sale right now. It will probably last about 2 days, maybe one.
As soon as somebody realizes it's out there.
Oh,
We got a Highlander on Saturday and on trade, and by noon Monday it was sold. So,
Yes.
Yeah. Still, I think it's getting better, but still not a good time to be buying a used car or a new car. So
What'd they buy?
wait. What's that?
What the Highlander traded to?
Well, they actually traded. They traded to me for cash because they bought a car down the street at the Subaru dealer, regular car.
Okay.
But the good news was the Subaru dealer didn't screw them. They got a vehicle at MSRP, so they were happy about that.
Would be
Wow.
cool to get that Sarah.
Yeah. So we're starting to see more new cars showing up on dealer lots, and that's taking the pressure off the used car market. So hopefully prices will come down and availability will go up. What's Casey saying?
I do a PSA.
Oh, okay.
If your dealer hasn't sold out of their allotment of BZ4Xs, Toyota used up all of their allocation on 11 and 22 mile plug-in hybrids. So if you wanted to get the full tax credit or need the full tax credit to afford the BZ4X, you need to get with the dealer who's going to get it this year and get it to you before they run out of tax credit.
Yeah.
There you go. And yeah, interesting. I'm sorry, Mark?
Or buy this is it
A
Supra
Solterra. Yeah, but that one does cost $4,000 more. So if you were already strapped, it might still be tight.
Probably not. Excellent. Well, thank you, Paul. Mr. Connor, what's going on?
I will unmute here. Yes. So I've got a few shout outs to do. The first one is to Reverend Lennox Yearwood Jr. He gave a really inspiring speech. I posted the video on our What Drives Us media, social media feeds. And I thought it was really cool. It's titled Racial Equity, the Climate Movement, and Transportation Electrification. And I've talked about how seeing the relationship between those things took me quite a while. And now I see it, and he articulated it really well. It was an inspiring speech. I suggest you all check it out. And my normal plugs, I blog occasionally at carswithcores.net, and I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Thanks.
Yes. Definitely look up Patrick's work and tell him I sent you. No, wait. He's right. I guess not. Hey, Mark, what's going on with you, sir?
I would like to ask the people currently watching this video to give us a thumbs up. Press that subscribe button. It helps us out immensely. And you can follow us at all the social media, different social media access points. All you have to do is look up What Drives Us. We're all over there. Twitter, Instagram. We won't even go to TikTok this week. But we have all sorts of different social media. Just look up What Drives Us. We're there. Press the subscribe and keep up with us during the week. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Coughlin. And last and certainly not least, Georgia's going to go show us all of her new gear. Georgia? No, she doesn't even have it all
Go
yet.
get my server.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to sit around and watch me drool over my server. You've been here for 57 minutes, people. Thank you so much. And you made it this far. Might as well go on ahead and hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already, because obviously you enjoy this content. And we are here just about every Wednesday talking cars, sustainability, and, well, shit. So come on, hang out with us. And while you're at it, when you want to have a little bit more in-depth on stuff like what's up with Tesla's latest DLC, head on over to Casey Green, caseygreen.net, and also Casey Green at YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, watch him train his car to fetch, roll over, and probably sit up in bag or something, whatever it is that comes with the latest content for its remote. And when you're done with that, if you want to find out more about what's happening with Tesla, head on over to Mark, Tesla Live. He's got all your information right there. He follows stock stuff, so you don't have to. Thank God. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow along with Mark over on Twitter too. And then when you need to have a more holistic view of sustainable things, including important discussions on solar and how it feels to have a really well done house that doesn't cost you $200 to heat, unlike somebody in a dinky apartment. And on over to carswithcords.net, because Patrick is sitting there, he's writing, he's reading really intense things and giving some cool thoughts about it. And I just want to have a shout out to everyone in the chat, our regulars, JT and Bruce Nelson, and welcome a new person. Hey June, how you doing? Please come on back and hang around with us. And I'm going to throw that back over to you. And oh, 1 second. Good notes. not just Amazon, but hey, gas prices are coming down. So let's apply a little pressure to our elected representatives to say, how about that anti-gouging bill? We should push that through, shouldn't we? Yay!
Yeah.
Let's do that. And back to you, Russell.
Minor correction is CaseyGreen.com. Not .net.
Casey Green.
It's going to cost you, Green. I don't even mean that. I've just always wanted to say something really ominous and threatening like that. So.
Don't be disappointed if you get to that website. I don't do a lot with it.
And I'm not even going there. Anyway, I want to thank Michael Manring for his theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. And apologies, you won't hear it today because I don't have it queued up. And Casey, our fine engineer, is on the road, and he has that alien attached to him who at any point Casey could just drop like a rock. It's going to happen at some point. I want to thank...
It's already out, though.
Casey Green, Georgia McKenzie, Mark Coughlin, Paul Guzik, and Patrick Connor, everybody in the chat room, and of course, all of you folks out there who download, listen, and or watch are the reason we do it. Thanks so much. See you next week to find out what drives us. Bye. Imagine bass music here. Yeah, no.